Hi, filmmakers, actors, and artists. I'm Jennifer Beatty-Yen, and it is my pleasure to welcome you to Film Lab's second virtual workshop of the 72-hour shootout this year, Resources for Filmmakers from Backstage Magazine. Before I turn this over to Backstage, I'd just like to take a moment to thank you for being here with us today virtually and for being flexible and rolling with the punches as we transition from live events to virtual events. And just to take a second to acknowledge that this is a really tough time for many of us. Many of us are isolated. We may be in quarantine. I'm in quarantine. We may have friends or family members who are ill, or we may be ill ourselves. Events like these, which are normally live and are normally an opportunity to network and meet new people and build your shootout teams, are suddenly virtual. Please know that all of us here at the Film Lab, even if we're not with you physically, we are here to support you, and we are working very hard to adjust our programming and our shootout to this new normal to ensure that we can help you to tell your stories. Telling the stories of those who are too often marginalized or erased by mainstream media is always important, right? That's our mission here at the Film Lab. But it is never more so than in times of crisis. So, in addition to the 72-hour shootout, which Tyler is going to tell you a little bit more about shortly, we do have two other projects that are going on right now through which we'd like to invite you to participate, to join us, to use your art for activism, to effectuate positive social change. The first is IWATU, that stands for Immigrants, We Are Them, They Are Us. It's been going on for some time now. You may have seen our Right Up in Broadway world, which we're very proud of. For Immigrants, We Are Them, They Are Us, or IWATU, you just need to take a little brief videotape of yourself, 2 to 3 minutes, saying what the word immigrant means to you. You can do it alone. You don't need to cast anybody. You can do it from home, and then email us your little video clip. And it could be a definition. It could be a story. It could be a poem. It could be an interpretive dance. So whatever speaks to you. The second project is part of a much broader movement across many groups, communities, and individuals that is intended to combat COVID-19 related racism and violence against those of Asian descent. And to join us in that, simply take a selfie of yourself and post it. The selfie should be you holding a sign saying, "Racism is a virus." And then just tag us at ASAM Film Lab. And if you'd like an example of what that looks like, just go to our Facebook page, facebook.com/ASAM Film Lab. And across the top in the banner, you'll see those of us who are on the management team at the Film Lab doing just that. All right, now the reason you've all tuned in today, Christine McKenna-Tirella of Backstage Magazine. Our wonderful Christine is the New York casting specialist at Backstage. Before joining the magazine, she worked extensively in film, television, commercials, and theater. She's worked for Telsey, she's worked for Palladino, she's worked for Stuart Whitley. She holds an LLB in law from Queen's University, Belfast. Law sister. And she is passionate about all things film, TV, theater, pop culture, and fitness. After she speaks, award-winning filmmaker and the Film Lab's 72-hour shootout coordinator, Tyler Hampong, is going to be answering some frequently asked questions about the shootout. Stay tuned for that. But now, Christine McKenna-Tirella of Backstage Magazine.
Hello, Asian American Film Lab. I'm Christine McKenna-Tirella from Backstage, doing a very special home audition, work from home audition of a demonstration for our product. Really excited to have you guys on board. Congratulations on the festival, and I wish you all luck in making your films this year. Let me show you a little bit about the site. Give me 1 second to share my screen. Okay, cool. So when you come onto Backstage, we have a beautiful new rebrand, which we just launched. We're very excited about. But there are a few things to have a look at when you come online. So first of all, the magazine, I highly recommend the editorial if you guys aren't already looking at it. I know that there's a perception that it's all actor-based, but we have a lot of features and stories to do with behind the camera and the experience of directors, producers, showrunners, etc. So, and it's something that we're really expanding in our editorial. So have a look at that. I recommend that you follow us on social media, Instagram, Facebook. Have us come up in your feed. You'll see some of our editorial. And I find that really, I find all of these articles fantastic. So have a look. This is, of course, where you would be going for creating your postings with us. So this is the creator. You go right to post a job. And you would start filling in all of the details. I'm going to go into a presentation of that in just a second. But while we're on this side, I also wanted to point out just a few more things. So this is how it works. If you had any questions after we chat and you're not sure of some of the things that we discussed, we definitely have a really comprehensive guide on here. Advice for actors. So again, that's what I was talking about when I was talking about editorial. So this is like a multi-hyphenate creator. Here's the costume designer from 6. Here's choreographer. Here's the showrunner of High Fidelity. Awesome articles. Take a look. And then thirdly, this is our talent database. So you guys have access to this as content creators. And what's exciting about that is that you can go in, and I'll just randomly select a few things. So I need an actress who is between 25 and 40 approximately. She's in New York. You know, it's a local shoot. I can't afford her to come out from LA. I'd like her to have a headshot resume. And in the script, she is ethnically ambiguous. Great. Here are my options here. So this is our database. There's almost 7,000 actresses that fit that. I have more time. I can look at more of these filters. If there's something, you know, maybe she needs to have a passport. Actually, that's not right. I'm going to select all, but she needs to have red hair. And then I get different applicants come forward from that, right? So this is a really cool tool for you if you were in a rush and you kind of wanted to see if there were people that didn't submit on your project that maybe might be right for the project that you're working on. And this is our email button here. So that would be your internal email. I can go in and I can send a message to Coco and say, hi, Coco, would you be interested in my project? Here's some details. I have the listing on Backstage. Here's the link. I'd love to hear from you. Here's my email. Or more accurately, please write back to me here in the internal Backstage email, because that's safe and professional. Now, the one thing about this talent database to keep in mind is that not all of our actors and actresses have decided to elect to be in the public database, because this can be searched by all of our creators, our content creators and directors and producers. So there's definitely more than the 413 people that self-identify as redhead 25 to 40-year-olds with a passport in our database, but these women have decided to share their information publicly. So that is the beauty of also never just relying on the database and emailing people, but actually putting a casting call into Backstage and finding our full database to have to get a look at that. Cool. So obviously post a job is where you guys are interested in knowing more about. So let's go on into the presentation that I have created for you. All right, so cast your film today. So basically, Backstage makes casting super easy. We really think we've got a very elegant and intuitive system. When you start using it, you're going to feel the same way. So this is the first page that you were looking at previously. So creating a listing, title, production type, your production company if you have a name. I recommend that you list all of your personnel if you can. The production description, like a little elevator pitch of what it is, and of course, rehearsal production dates and location. Hint, we've run metrics on this, and when you have more details on this page, including naming your project, you get more submissions. So so highly recommend that you name the project and describe it fully. Even if it is an untitled project for this moment, an actor, titles change all the time. So I highly recommend that you do that. Finding the right talent for you. So this is the first screen that you would go to. You'd fill in all of these details. And then the next part of that project would be to put in the roles. So again, same rule applies. Actors find it much more appealing to apply to Detective Ryan than Man Number 3 for their resume and for the experience. So highly recommend that you name every character, regardless if they really have a name or not at the moment. Role type, so the options there would be lead or supporting, that type of thing. I'm going to fill in those details. And then just a really quick note about, keeping a description that's as particular as possible and as detailed as possible. I'm going to go into that a little bit more later on in this presentation. Once you have filled in all that information, the next part would be the checkout, which of course you have a promo code for that I'll be giving to you at the end of this presentation. And then it's sent out and our editors will edit it and give you feedback if there's some more information that we require, and it goes onto the site. From that point, you're going to get actors submitting to you. And when you are looking at your casting dashboard, when the actors have submitted, it will look like this. So we've just given a few different examples of people. These are live when you're on the site. So you would click on Mary and you'd be able to see all of her details, her headshot, her resume, all of those good things. You'd be able to yes or no if she's not particularly right for this. You could click on it and there's actions that you could take, like you could move her to audition. The actions are here. I'll talk about that. Great, so you guys sent me some fantastic questions. So I'm gonna go right into one of the questions that you guys sent because it really feeds well into this presentation. So what particular resources does Backstage have to help people cast remotely? Which of course is a big theme at the moment. So since the last time we did a presentation, this is a new development for us. So you can request self-tapes, which is really exciting, all on the system. So you go to Application Manager, you're going to select the people that you're interested in. We've got this little button here that is the little man with the camera. So you select that. This will come up for that, request an audition with Gary Norman or Joshua Brooks. You're going to write a subject, a detailed message about exactly what you need recorded. You're going to select a deadline. It's not an option here. That's why I tell you, you have to put it in the email. You'll upload your script and your sides. You're going to let them know what role they're doing and if it's voiceover or video that you require. And then you're going to press send. It's as simple as that. I highly recommend that you do you follow up with the actor to make sure they've received this email and that they're going to work on this video. But you will be able to receive videos right into your internal Backstage email. So you will be all in one place. You'll be able to see the actors submit, which is really exciting. Right now, do you have any tips or suggestions for how we create a film during this pandemic? What can we do? Okay, great. So there are lots of things that you can do to stay active and creative during this time. Of course, for the shootout in particular, this may not apply, but for other projects, this definitely applies. There are so many pre-pro things that you can keep on doing while you're not able to be on set. So does that script need finessing? Can you be writing to pitch to people that you want to work with? And also you can definitely be auditioning virtually at this time. So those are all ideas. So part of things that you can do to get ready for your audition right now, you can make sure that, that the script is exactly in the right place that you want it to be. Select the right sides for each of the characters for the roles that you need. And then you can virtually audition these folks, which is really exciting. Breakdown hints. So we talked about this earlier a little bit. I alluded to it on one of the first slides. So language matters. So these two people, there's Rachel and Maurice. You know, Rachel's description, it might make sense to you because you've lived with the script for a long time, but it doesn't tell an actor a lot. It doesn't really let them know if they're right for that role. And a lot of people might think that they could be Mark's wife, whoever Mark is, right? Whereas Maurice is giving us a lot more clues. If we're playing detective as an actor, trying to figure out what we should be applying for, if we have a British accent, if we've been told that we have an intellectual and proper kind of vibe and that's our type, who has a lot of emotional availability as an actor, much more descriptive. So it really helps an actor figure out if they're right to apply. So that's kind of the way to think about the language of your breakdown. Clear communication, know the details. So this is a little difficult right now because of the pandemic and there's a lot of things on hold. So knowing the details part of this is a little difficult, but clear communication is not, right? So we can just say, ideally the contract is this, ideally the shoot dates are this, and the rehearsal is this, but here are the dates that we're hoping to do it. Here is the kind of rain dates for it. We might need you this date. Other things to note, if you have minors on set, you should just double check the rules and regulations about how many hours they can be on set, etc. If there's nudity required or sexual violence in the script, that needs to be described accurately in your breakdown, and it has to be attached to the roles that it would be applying to. And this might take extra time to get approved on our site for the safety of our actors. So we might ask you to share your script with us, which is totally confidential. We might ask you to provide some more information about the scene itself. We do it with everyone that everyone that has a nudity or violent scene in their project for the safety of our actors. And if you're looking for an unusual skill, language, type of actor, build in time for your casting search. Hopefully we have it in the database. Hopefully that actor's looking at their email that day, but if they're not, it might just take a little bit longer. It might take a little bit of inventive searching. That's what I always like to give you guys that heads up. Cool. Here's another question that you sent in. In your opinion, what are the best tools that Backstage offers me as a filmmaker? Great question. Okay, so this is a unique aspect to Backstage. You can track your project with collaborators. So your landing page, we call it the casting dashboard, is what you look at when you first log in. And when you first log in, you're going to see your project will be the first one on top there. It'll be the most recent project. And you can add collaborators here at the bottom to work with a team. So if you want to include the director and the producer and the casting director all in one, so you guys can look at these, the talent that's submitted, and decide if there are other people that you'd like to reach out to, or if there are people that appeal to the director, and this casting director sees something different. You guys can all share that information. Also, when you're getting self-tapes, which again is so relevant at this moment, you can collaborate as a team to see those self-tapes by sharing the link. We let you control how much people see, so they won't see all of your casting projects previously. You won't be sharing more information than you want, but it's a really, really great tool that I think, because it's unique to our site, is something to really investigate and play with. You can communicate with ease. So we of course have that internal emailing system, which I talked about, which lets you reach out to our database, even if they haven't submitted on a project, but you're interested in their talent. So there's that to keep in mind. This is definitely new since we did a presentation for the Film Lab. So we introduced this year, and I am super, super excited about it. So this is the casting. You can schedule in-person auditions with us now. So I spoke about the little actions tab earlier. You request an audition. It's either going to be an in-person or a self-tape. And of course, you're going to select the in-person for the presentation right now for when we are out of quarantine. And then we have a really smart and easy way to schedule and manage. So you'll select the time frame that you would like to make your audition go from. I've made a 9 to 11:10 schedule this morning. It'll auto-populate if you want. So we will kind of guess how long everybody needs and put it into the system. Or you can manually pull in each actor to take your time with them if you want. If you wanted to see one person between 9 a.m. and 9:15, or you want to see 3 people, you can control that. You can schedule breaks. I'm just making sure I've got all the other little details on the side here, but I'll send this information over to Jen and Tyler so that you guys can have a look at this a little more. It's a really fun tool. I'm really, really excited about it. When you have put in all that talent that you're ready to schedule, you send either individually or as a group to all of those people. You can send an email and attach sides, and they'll know where they're going. And then that is it. They have their audition appointment. They'll confirm themselves, or they'll let you know if they need to reschedule. That's that little reschedule clock there. And what's super smart that no other site is doing right now is that if the applicant needs to reschedule a time and there is an open slot, so leaving a few slots throughout the day strategically in your audition schedule, if there's a few slots open, Fuchsia here can put herself into another time and auto confirm herself so that you don't have to go in and get the email that she needs to move from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. or, you know, vice versa. And it happens where a lot of actors kind of need to move around sometimes. These guys can auto move themselves around, confirm themselves, and it's all done for you. It's super convenient. I wish I had this when I was in casting. Great. So moving on to a few features that I love that are kind of post scheduling the audition. You can print a schedule and create what we would call a session sheet in casting. So you go ahead and you press the print button on the audition schedule, and it makes a session sheet for you. So you don't have to print anything out. You don't have to spend hours typing out and attaching and making your audition sheet look really pretty for when you're in the room or when you're working on a project. We'll auto-generate for you, and it'll have the person's headshot resume. This is obviously, Luke is my VP of castings. This is like a silly picture that he's attached to his profile. So Luke is auditioning for Crocodile Dundee, apparently. But we can write notes on him. We can let him know how he did in his 9 a.m. slot. Furthermore, another feature, again, that I think is really great is that you support every step of the way. So you can, the first place to go is that help desk on the site by the creator and post a job. You can ask any question and we mostly have an answer. And then if you don't have the answer, we have a full real people customer team and casting team that are so happy to help you. All right, so this is the promo lab, the promo code for Film Lab. And you guys had some additional questions. So one of the first questions that I got is, does the Backstage code last after the shootout? Yes, it does. So Film Lab, because you guys are associated with Film Lab, we keep it open for you guys all year long. So please use it for your other castings. Check us out in other ways, for commercials or for theater projects. We're so happy to have you on this site. What vetting process do the Backstage actors go through? So currently the actors join, and we encourage them to have a full profile, and we of course monitor their activity on the site, but we don't fully background check them as of yet. Check back with me in about 6 months. We are introducing some new measures in that way. So I can't really talk about it fully because it's not things that are in public domain, but we are working on background checks for actors. In your opinion, what are the best tools that Backstage offers as a filmmaker? Yeah, so what I haven't featured here because it's super new and I don't have slides for it yet, because we just introduced it. We have a callback feature. So after you have held your audition, you can pull all the people that you loved into a callback, and you can auto-populate and send that out, which is really cool. Also, similarly, if an actor has made you a self-tape during this time or any time, you can pull them into callback and ask them for additional material, which is super exciting. So you can keep it all on one site. Everything is compact. Assuming I have to cast really, really fast, what's the best way to utilize Backstage? Cool. Yeah, so we actually grant access to the content creators immediately. So you guys will get on the site immediately. If you we will post your listing pretty quickly, as in as soon as we can, which as long as it's Monday through Friday, it'll be within minutes. And then you might be reached out to by our casting team if they need additional information. The things that I said about nudity, violence, minors on set, we always investigate every casting that goes on the site. And should I create my account before the shootout begins? Yes. We have started, so we are in a 2-part process about background checks. And we've started doing background checks on all of our content creators so that the actors feel safe. So we will ask you to verify some information about yourself before you start with us. So if you can get that process started early, highly recommend. What's your favorite thing about working for Backstage? Oh, you know, it's really great to be able to to influence filmmakers and help you guys in your early careers and your mid careers and beyond, because we've got some really cool tech that's happening. And then I also really love to be able to still be connected with actors, be part of a machine that's making really great editorial for actors and kind of connecting you guys both together. That's what's exciting for me. What makes Backstage a good fit for filmmakers competing in the 72-hour shootout? Yeah, so again, you get instant access to the site. We have a huge database of talent that are excited and ready to work and love working on these projects, as you guys know. Again, we've developed a lot of software that I think is going to really help you when you only have a few hours to think about casting. Yeah, and hopefully this new callback feature is going to be really great too. One more thing that I want to tell you about that as I speak to you is not live, but I know that you're getting this tape next week. Fingers crossed, next time that we are talking live or in person, we are going to be having a new feature where you can audition people like a Zoom, like a conference call via Backstage. So if this quarantine situation lasts longer and you are still in pre-pro and you need to audition actors and the self-tapes are good, but you need to really work with them because of your script or because that's how people normally work, we are gonna have that option for you. It's not live yet, but we're working on it and we're gonna have it out and ready pretty soon. Okay, so any questions? casting@backstage.com. Also my email, which is christine.mt@backstage.com. It's been such a pleasure to chat with you guys. Ideally, I would have loved to have done this in person. But I look forward to your questions. I look forward to seeing your projects on our site. And yeah, I hope to hear from you guys very soon. Thanks so much. Bye.